Alright fellas, welcome back. Let's get you perched up here. Alright fellas. Oh, I'm back from work. Wanted to crack out a video that someone suggested. That video was a suggestion of a video about a comparison between the old brewery and the new one that we're in now. But what we're going to do is more of a rundown of this place and the differences between the old one, but I'm going to keep this video playing whilst we run through this one, so you can have a look at what we used to have and what we have now as I run through it. Let's go. Okay, so as you're aware, or maybe you're not aware, maybe you're a new subscriber, a new viewer, we didn't used to have equipment like this when we first started. When we first started, it was very much a DIY, definitely do-it-yourself 3-vessel system. Although the DIY 3-vessel system wasn't the crudest method of doing it, but we managed to, in the fashion of DIYing, cobble together a home system in the pots. So as you can see, we didn't have these nice stainless steel pots. We had the keg system, which is very naughty, don't do it. I do apologise, Keg Watch, but I got them kegs from a plumber. He used to have a bar in his garage, and I mentioned to him what I was doing, and he said, "Oh, I've got some empties you can have." So that's where they came from. Of course, cut the lids out, made lids with stainless steel washers so that the lid that you cut out didn't go back through the hole. And of course, we're millions of miles away from that now. We have actual lids that are for the pots with silicone rubber on them so you don't burn your hand when you pick them up. And of course, we have the SS Brewtech kit. Fragging rights. So I knew that I needed to either pack up brewing on the 3-vessel system that I had and go one of two ways. I needed to get an all-in-one brewing system or spend the extra money and go for a 3-vessel system, but getting away from the DIY side of things. I didn't want to have to cobble anything together. I wanted to be able to buy the proper stuff to go in the proper pots. Everything here is the proper job. So everything's stainless steel. All the washers that go on all the fittings are the correct washers for the job. I didn't have to make any out of silicone baking sheet, which is what we were doing. And what very quickly, I mean, this is what I've run. I've run two batches on this. I've run 2 batches through this kit. It doesn't take long, obviously, 2 batches, to realise that having the right kit for the job makes the brew day a lot easier. For instance, I don't get any leaks on any of this. Everything's how it should be. The SS Brewtech mash tun, this is the 5-gallon pot, is all insulated. This is all insulated, the lid's insulated, and we've got a centre draining pot, which means that I can get everything out of this liquid wise and let it drain completely before I start emptying it after a brew day. Things like that I didn't have on the old kit. I would have to drag the mash tun out, still with water in the bottom because the dip tube that I fitted wouldn't get it all out. The elements which are in the boil pot and the HLT have all got the correct fittings welded onto the pots, which of course our good friend Harry did for us, which is fantastic, which means that after a brew day we can unclamp the elements and give them a good wash, get at them, which again I couldn't do on the old kit. They were hardwired in using washing machine elements, the rubber that fits the element into the washing machine, that same shape rubber fitting that was on there, I had to cut the hole out of the keg and then wedge them in and then tighten the nut up on the element to hopefully get a seal. And it just meant that once you'd got it sealed, you weren't going to unseal it, so you had to drag the elements within the pots, and the cables that were attached to the elements were the big pain in the arse, and you couldn't clean them properly. This way we can get them cleaned. Oh my goodness me. We've got a proper screen now for the mash tun, the false bottom that goes into the mash tun, which again is made for it. It came with it. No more cobbling anything together to try and get a good mash runoff without any grains leaking underneath the makeshift false bottom that we had, which eliminates it getting into the boil pot and giving you a headache. The boil pot which I had before, I mean, this video that's playing is 2016. I've made some upgrades at this point, but still very DIY and not where I wanted it to be. The boil pot, we started off with the bazooka hose that just stuck straight out. It wasn't on a dip tube. And then we went to get the Blickman, I think we got the Blickman hot blocker, but again, the kegs that I had were not flat at the bottom. And that hot blocker is designed to go in the Blickman pot, which is a flat bottom pot. And so it worked to a degree, but it wasn't perfect. You would get still hoppage leaking underneath. And there was a funny way of having to lift up the screed on the hot blocker once you were halfway down. You know, you could reach it to get so that the finer hops didn't get through. It was a pain in the arse basically, and I would end up getting blockages in the pumps. So the pumps we've got now are the Brew Pump 3000s. They're brilliant, I like them. The only thing I would like to change in the future is, instead of having the plastic front housing, change it out for stainless steel. The fittings that we have now are the cam locks. The proper jobby. It just makes it all dead easy for connecting and unconnecting, especially when you've got hot side, it's all hot. And we made a big investment in this. This came from the electric brewery in America, and I ordered it, they got shipped over from America. But this is an absolute diamond of a filter. So it's the first filter that I've had where it is filtered underneath, all round, on the top, on the sides, and the only way in is through this hole which goes into the well, where the dip tube there goes into. And I'm sure there's many of you watching that know the struggle of running a finished beer off into a fermenter and getting all the crap that's in your kettle into your fermenter, or getting in the pump and blocking the pump, and then you have to stop what you're doing. I mean, you're at the end there, you're at the finish line, you're getting everything into the fermenter. You don't want to be stopping and stripping a pump down to clean it out. You want to be just getting it in there as quickly as possible. And with this, I don't have any headaches with it. It just does its job. It works a treat. I mean, the Idaho 7 American Pale Ale that we did, there was over 200 grams of pellet hop in there. Dealt with it absolutely perfectly. It never missed a beat. Of course, we've got the Coconut Charpier video coming up. We're going to be doing the brew day a week tomorrow of me filming this video, so we're going to have coconut in there as well. But it won't be a problem. It won't be a problem for that filter. That filter's a beast. And of course, having the right control panel. No more wooden box. It's a proper fuse box. It's metal. It has a proper lock on it. And having all the proper stuff. We've got an alarm this time. We've got a timer. We've got all the proper switches, instead of having the household light switches to turn things on and off with. It all makes a massive difference when you're having a brew day. It just feels a lot better. And of course, in this new place, we have space. We have an abundance of space. I mean, not an abundance of space, but I would say that this place is I would say it's a little over twice as big as the last place. We've managed to get the keys in the old place, but it's all scratched up because we were doing projects on it because we didn't have any workspace. There was no workspace, whereas we have that now. Ah, and we've got a sink as well. Having the sink and the floor drain is a massive, massive improvement over the old place. Just being able to let everything drain before I take the pots to clean them. Just let them drain onto the floor. Fantastic. Massive, massive upgrade from the last place. If I got anything on the floor in the last place, well, I just had to sort of mop it up best I could and hope for the best. And of course, a sink. I didn't have a sink in the old place. Being able to take readings, wash everything off, rinse down equipment afterwards, wash the elements down. It's all these little things that I would have to do in the house. I'd have to take it all out and into the house to do it. Now we've got that. We don't need to do that. It's all self-contained. I have one problem though that I need to hopefully get sorted before the brew day, and that is I need a new fermentation chamber. So we used the Keezer to ferment the Idaho 7 Pale Ale. Fantastic. It's got a heater in there. Obviously the freezer cools, so I can ferment in there. But now that Idaho 7 is kegged, it's on tap, so I can't use that to ferment in. And this is only big enough to get a bucket in it. So if I wanted to use the snub nose to ferment the coconut shy PA, which I want to, because you've got the pressure fermentation and then the pressure transfer into a keg, it just eliminates headaches. I want to use it. I don't want to go back to the bucket. So I need to get another, I'm thinking freezer, and I think I might have found one. It's a freezer with a forward opening door like a fridge. And I think I found one where it is a freezer space from top to bottom without there being the cooling in the bottom. So, you know, you imagine this all the way from the back down to the floor. It's the same width from the back to the front. There's no step on it, which is what I need. When I get that, I will be stripping down this fermentation chamber and taking the fan out of it, the heater out of it, and then just wiring it up to the cables which are running round and are attached to the control panel. So hopefully it shouldn't be too big a job. But again, because the place is big enough, we have space here. I mean, I've got to get rid of that anyway, but you know, I have the space to get another one if I want to. I have two. I'm happy with the new place and can't wait to get brewing again with Harry. I have something in there which is going to be in the next video. And merch. I have got in touch with the graphic designer, Kelly, that did my logo for my business. I've got in touch with her and we're in talks about creating a logo that is going to be able to go on shirts, as well as an idea for a shirt. I'm going to start it off slow and then build up the merch, but stay tuned for that. People have been saying yes, we want the merch, so fantastic. Anyway guys, that's it. So as always, don't forget to thumbs up the video, we're doing over here, like, subscribe, because you're not going to the video, and I'll stay until next time. I'm out of here.